Well, hello everybody. How you doing? Wee Paddy from across the shock, and this is a wee video I've been dying to bring to you. I've had this knife probably less than a week, maybe 5, 6 days, but it is such a beautiful knife that I can't wait to show it off to you. For starters, look at that color. Isn't that just gorgeous? This is, as you'll probably see by the title, this is the GEC Unexcelled, which is the Northfield, which is the higher end version where you get the slanted bolts. Well, this is slanted bolsters with the threads on it. Absolutely beautiful. You get nail nick matchstick pulls and beautiful swedges on the knife, and we'll get to see that very shortly. But just to get you started, this scale is called Orange Crush, and it is just about the most perfect name for a scale because it just looks exactly like that. A beautiful big glass of Orange Crush. It is gorgeous. And I got this from a private seller over here in the UK, which somebody had put me in touch with. And when I seen this on his site, I just couldn't wait to get it. I knew I had to have it. It's a huge big knife. This is the number 54. So this is a working knife in the true sense of the word. And it's, I am going to use it. I use most of the knives anyway, but I am going to use this. I was going to keep it as a safe queen. This actually comes from 2009, which is just 3 years after GEC were founded. So, I mean, it's just, and it's double bladed. I'm going to leave the surprise if you haven't seen it before. It is 4 1/4, about 4 1/4 inches open. So there's a full size blade. Let me just show you the main clip point blade. Oh, sorry, I've got you out of focus here. The main clip point is 3 1/4 with a cutting edge of 2 3/4. So a great big working blade. But let's just see. I don't normally do the measurements, but I just thought with this one, for my own, I wanted to see it myself. Let me just turn this on. And we'll see what we're at. We're in ounces, that's okay. Now, what weight is this big baby? 3.9 ounces, nearly 4 ounces. Let's just get it into... Not grams. Oh, it is. That's grams. Sorry, I'm mucking about here. I haven't used it so that long. 171 grams. So there you go. This feels like a solid big, nearly 4 inches. So I mean, this any work knife that you're going to have is going to be about that weight. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's a traditional or a locking knife. But let me tell you. You have this beautiful big clip. Now, the Moose is always sort of known as a big two-bladed knife. This is by no means any exception. Just look at that. You have 2 full clip points. 2 full-size working clip points. 1095. But is that not just, does that not look like a bull moose horn? It is just an absolute Bobby Dazzler, it really is. And obviously you got the nail nick on this side, so when you turn the knife round and you're using the other blades, you have the nail nick. I know there's fingerprints there, but you can't keep them off. Northfields are all shiny blades. I'll give it one go for you just so you can have a quick look. And then I'll talk a bit about the knife and where I would see this fitting into, one, a collection, but 2, a use factor. I think you can already tell this is, oh, what's that say on there? This is number 10 of 50. So they are. Back in the day, GEC really didn't make a whole lot of knives. So 10 of 50 is nothing. I mean, if you can imagine the world of GEC collectors alone, that's not even going to touch the surface. So there we go. Where's it going to fit in my knife? I'm going to try and use it. Now, I'm not going to abuse it. I'm going to try to keep it looking as good as I can, but I'm going to use it for cutting up cardboard and things like that. Maybe not the messy jobs that are wet, and I'm going to get patina. I don't know whether I want patina on it yet, but time will tell. I really have bought this for a collection knife that um, I don't particularly want to sell ever, because I don't know whether I'll ever get another one, especially from 2009. And if you're a GEC lover, you realize that the further you get back, the less knives they made, which makes something like this to me just now costs a bit of money. Now, the tube that it came in, I haven't showed it because, and again, the man was up front. His dog had got hold of the tube and chewed both the plastic ends, getting and they're a bit of a mess. They're still there, they're still working, but they are a bit chewed up. And I didn't want to put them down near this beautiful knife. That doesn't bother me in the slightest whatsoever. It's only a tube that carries it. This is the bit that's in my collection. And as you can see, it is in just beautiful condition. Because of its age, Northfield normally has you can sort of see it there. There you go. It has the etching on the blade on this side. On the other side, it tells you what number it is in the collection number. But just look how well that is made. And look, there's been no use on it. That blade is, maybe light use. And that's, probably, and it's a shame, really. I don't work, so the chances of me doing any real heavy work on this it's not going to happen. But I honestly believe that even with this hump on it, right, when I put my hands on here, right in the middle there is where the point there, so I get a really reasonable grip, and I could do plenty of work with that. And I don't really feel it that much. I can adjust my fingers that I don't feel it that much, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. It's fine for what I'm going to do now. Um, but there's not many knives out there, especially slip joints, that come near to the standard of this older GEC. The beautiful blade stock. It's not thick. I mean, they all talk about modern knives and they like the thin stock. Why buy a modern one? Buy a traditional. That's not thick. That will cut and slice through anything. You can barely see it. It is so thin, but yet it is incredibly sturdy. It's 1095, which is hard, durable carbon steel, which lasts a reasonably long time. But when you've got two blades, let's give you an example in lengthwise of this knife compared to, there's a UK PK, which is something similar in size. I know there's a difference, but they're actually, the UK PK is maybe a slight bit smaller, if anything. But the actual blade cutting edge, you probably got a little bit more in this. It's exactly the same, but a little bit more for the curve and whatever on that one. And that's a UK PK, which is a good standard, working knife. That is a standard, like a Delica or a Para 3, them blades, that's that sort of standard. I'll give you another one. And here's a Civivi, a modern knife. This is a locking one. Now, this is made to look like a traditional locking knife with a faux bolster in carbon fiber and then your G10 here. Lovely swedge on there. Beautiful clip point blade. Would you put them in the same room? I'm afraid I wouldn't. I just love the GEC clip point. It is gorgeous. But as a modern copy of this sort of standard of knife, that's absolutely beautiful. Now, is that more expensive? Yes, but for me, in my eyes, looking at this knife now, I can't compare the look. This just outshines this by everything. This is a smashing knife. This is thin behind the edge too. I mean, this is a really thin behind the edge. The blade stock is actually probably about the same. Yeah, there's not much. Yeah, I would say they're about the same. Not that much difference. So, yes, this is a better blade stock. I think this is D2. Well, see, it's not that much better, but it's D2 on this. Um, but here's my reason why this here would go with me before I would take this. It's like a two blades on this. So no matter what I did to this, chipped, done whatever, and I needed the blade to be perfect, I just pull that out. With this, I have to bank on the fact that I've taken a second knife to work. And I mean, do we want to carry two bigger knives in our pockets going to work when you can take something like that? So there's for me where this sort of fits into the. This is the older generation where it's. I think we were, not we. I mean, yes, I'm part of that older generation. But even going back to my father's day, being prepared was something that people had to do because the availability of everything else. Having two knives mightn't have been a thing. So being prepared and buying a knife that was going to do you a full day's work and having the two blades or three blades, whichever you wanted, was a thing that people wanted. That was what they wanted in their knife. So we'll close. This is beautiful. A stunning knife. Civivi just, it is a beautiful knife. Very light. Here's the other knife that I'm going to put this up against, and it's another GEC, but this is a work knife. That's the 54 down there. This is the number 77. Now, not quite as big. I'm putting it bolster to bolster here. The blades, there's not much difference in the cutting edge on them. Not much different. The handle is a little bit shorter. It's what, about a quarter of an inch shorter. But this is a two blade. Again, it's a working knife. And, there we go. A lovely little sheep's foot on that. Great working blades. Will do everything anybody should need to do in a day. But let me just tell you, I always talk about the clip points. I love clips. So I want to just show you. Here is two GEC clip points. Can you see that they are not alike at all? Can you see that? I mean, this has a deep channel with an overhang at the top of it here, nail nick, and the one below it has a match strike nail nick. But if you also look at the blades themselves, this one has a nearly like a straight drop clip, and this one has an upturned nose. I don't know whether that's coming across. Can you see that? They're the same sort of shape, but they're not the same. And GEC have got lots of different clips that are just slightly different. But I mean, there are two amazing knives that I feel incredibly fortunate to have. And having found a source which I will not give out and been able to buy these cracking knives, it's just, I'm blessed. I really am blessed. I showed you the 71 that I had recently. Today's carry in my pocket, which is in a lovely slip. And I have a little video coming up on a new slip maker in the UK. It's actually part of the little group that I belong to, and his slips are beautiful. So I'm shining this up because I only got this morning. And this is something I never thought I would get due to the price. I never thought I would spend the money, but having got the 71, this is the number 73. This is from 2015. Look at this, baby. Oh, look at that beautiful knife. Bit of a thicker stock, not much thinner profile of a knife because it's only a single blade. And this is Appaloosa, is it horsebone? Something like that. I'll do it when I do the review on it. I literally have just got this morning. Is that not just a beautiful, slender, but working knife? The fit in my hand is like a glove. I don't think, even the 71, between it and the 71, there's not much difference. This has that same sort of handle. It just feels as if I could do 3 days work with this. It's just a beautiful knife. But again, there's the blade is a little bit longer in this. The handle's a little bit shorter. But I mean, I have now got enough working knives to do anybody, to be honest with you. I need to stop buying working knives. But when you get an opportunity to buy something like this, just the sound of these, I could listen to that walk and talk. It's just absolutely stunning. When you get the chance to buy something like this, as a collector, I can't stop myself. I just genuinely can't. Although I'm going to tell you, I've been a good boy. I had to sell a lot of knives to buy these. These weren't cheap knives, so I've had to sell quite a few of my GECs, but I've kept to 20 GECs. I told my wife I would because I'm being a good boy, and I kept to 20. Now I'm buying more British knives, and I actually have two custom knives that I've ordered this week. Not sure when I'll get them, but there's no rush on them. And I have another number 15 knife coming. as well. So I've ordered that. So I've had to sell quite a few knives the last few days to get the money in to pay for that as well. So there'll be more selling coming up. If you're on Instagram, best place to go. I'll sell my knives on Instagram. I usually do a batch of three for a certain price, depending on what three are, obviously. But they're fair prices. I'm not ripping the backside out of anybody. I've sold about 4 GECs in the last 2 weeks on Instagram. So if you want to go over there, you're more than welcome. They just come up when they come up. When I see something else I want to buy, I have to sell one to bring one into the collection. I'm just trying to refine my collection, but there's about 4 went in the last 2 weeks on Instagram. So there you go. Is that not just beautiful? I just think it's lovely. Do you want to have a walk around it? Look at the fit and finish. Say this is from 2009, and look how well that has been looked after. Look at that blade centering there. After that amount of time, this one's a little bit off, but it's not touching. It's not touching at all. If I can show you up the side, let me just show you. It's not anywhere near touching even, do you know what I mean? Just depends what, there you go. Not anywhere near touching whatsoever. I have no worries. It's a big two-bladed knife. There's no rubbing at all. It has the brass liner up the center there. It's not anywhere near touching it. So there you go. Look at this. And do you like this? Rough Rider do this in their knives with a slanted bolster. I think on this knife, I genuinely like it with a thread, just a single thread either side. I think it really does make it good. But the thing I like about it is having the nail nicks on both sides. So even when you go to this back side here, the knife looks proper. Doesn't it? Does that make any sense, or is it just me? The knife looks finished and it looks like it's all there. That orange crush is it's just delicious. What's my saying? You would lick that in the summer, wouldn't you, thinking it was nice lolly? It's just beautiful. So there you go. Enough drooling over a beautiful knife that I feel very honoured to get and to have in my collection. I don't think it'll ever leave. It's just a piece. Take care, everybody. All of it. Oh, by the way, just before I do go, last week I done a interview with the Big Canucker. It's a Canadian channel. He's only got about 500 subs. Sorry about that message. He's got about 500 subs, but he interviewed me on a Zoom call. Wasn't for very long. What I would love you to do is if you would pop over and see his little channel, give him a sub if you like him. He's a really genuinely nice big lad. He's had a bit of a rough time himself with injuries. He had a bad foot surgery there. So he would love you to go over and have a wee look at his channel. He's different than mine completely, but I watch him. So if that's anything to go by, I don't know whether that is or not, but I watch him. I enjoy his channel and I enjoy his friendliness. So I'll leave a direct link down below to that video where I done the Zoom call with him. It's just an informal chat about two people having knife collections. That's it. So there you go. All right, take care. Wee Paddy's away. And if you go over there, let him know Paddy sent you. Let him feel the love from Paddy's channel. All the very best. Bye-bye now. Take care.